Hello guys, welcome to Bitcoin Bankers, and it's nearly Christmas, so I hope you're having a good season, I hope you're having a good holiday there. And today we're going to look at the Bitcoin price, but I've got some really important stuff to show you today. It's some things that I've been looking at, really wanted to get a new perspective, especially for the new year coming up, in approaching trading and things, because I've just kind of 2021 has really thrown me off a lot. I had a lot of distractions and things. So I need to get back into it, and I really needed to see trading from a different perspective, and really wanted to know sort of what was going on, sort of a bit more behind the scenes with trading in general, behind the markets in general. And so I've put a few things together. At the beginning of this video I'll cover, and then we'll get into the Bitcoin price and have a look at a few other coins as well. Okay, so really important video if you're a trader. If you're a hodler, some of this probably won't matter, but you'll still probably want to be interested in, you know, where is Bitcoin going, what is Bitcoin doing. So first of all, let's get into this stuff. I'll probably just talk for 5 minutes. I'll allocate 5 minutes to the new information that I'm starting to work on. Okay, now at the moment we got the Christmas break, a couple of weeks where we can just kind of sit back. The markets aren't doing a lot, and this kind of goes to what I'm talking about now. So recently I wanted to sort of understand the market maker a lot more. You know, now some people think there is no market maker, it's all just people buying and selling. That's not true. It's not true at all. Market makers are people behind the scenes who really move the price one way or another, and it's really important that you understand this element, because when you're trading, especially on some of these exchanges, and some of these exchanges are so bodgy, they're working with algorithms and other people behind the scenes at the moment over Christmas, probably most of the algorithms, because everyone's gone on holiday, they've taken their profit. They took their profit probably back in late October, right? October, November, thereabouts. And so anyway, I really wanted to understand the market maker. And so I did a bit of a search around, and there's a fella called JJ Gorilla who used to be a trader on the real stock market floors, and also he worked in like a trading house just outside of Wall Street. And he talks about what it was like in the 90s and some of the things that he and others did, and just the way that they used to play. Now you can do a search on this, and it's called Confessions of a Market Maker. And just watch video 1 and 2, I think it is, and I'll bring these up and show you shortly. And you really need to listen to what he did, how he played it, just the mentality that they had, okay? And the mentality that they had towards the person on the other side. And he's now got into, he had an interesting life, but he's now a retail trader and working it from the other side because he wants to help other people. He knows how the inside of the market works. Now, a lot of the traditional markets, so there's the stock markets and regulated markets around the world, and they're a lot more regulated and things than they ever used to be, especially in the 90s when JJ was working. And but the crypto market has now become what the traditional markets were in the 90s. Unregulated. These guys are free to sort of make all sorts of deceptive moves they want to do, and it's just part of their nature. It's just how the markets work. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the first thing. So I'm just going to do a Google search for you. Confession of a Market Maker. Alright, and this is the first video, episode 1, Confession of a Market Maker, and this one here as well. So watch these two guys. You got the holidays, you got time off, take the time to watch these and just listen to how this guy's story works out. Alright, just amazing stuff, amazing. The second thing I wanted to show you, okay, to carry on from that, is this channel here. Trader's Reality. He's a British fella, and I've been watching more and more of his videos and things, and he has his system. It's called a hybrid system. He also has a website where you can start, tradersreality.com. And this is his website, okay? So you can get some tools that he uses as well. So here's some 2 resources, but this fella here really I think his name's Tino, and he really works on what the market makers are doing, and he has a little tool. It's a free tool that you can put into TradingView, and you can start to see that. I'm going to show you what it looks like shortly, but it is so interesting, so amazing actually. And it's really kind of given me a fresh look at how the markets work, the best way to trade, and you're really understanding what this guy really teaches you is how the market maker thinks compared to how you think when you're trading, okay? 2 very different perspectives on trading, you know? And so anyway, I really encourage you, if you're day trading, if you're scalping, even swing trading, yeah, there's some things for swing trading here. I'm kind of somewhere between day trading and swing trading. That's where I sit. I can kind of use both. If the market is really bullish and we're starting to go into a bullish trend, I'll probably just let it sit. I'll be more of a swing trader. When markets get a bit choppy or whatever, I go more to day trading, short-term trading. So you've got to be adjustable. You've got to keep yourself fluent with the market. You know what I mean? Now, that's what I basically had to say about these. So I really, really encourage you to jump over and subscribe to his channel. And when you get there, I can do the that's channel. Hang on, I did the wrong thing. So when you get there, these are the playlists, and you want to find you start with the playlists as understanding the hybrid system, and there's about 15, 20 videos in there. The second one, I've watched them, now I'm watching It's All in the Mind, all right? And then I'll be watching the live trading experiences, and he explains it more and more and more. So look, some of it is a little repetitive because he's just trying to get the ideas into your head, and it's taken a while for me to get old habits out and replace them with some new habits and some new ways of thinking. All right, so It's All in the Mind is the second list. The first list is understanding the hybrid system, and then the live trading one. They're probably the first 3 sets of videos that you want to watch, and also Confessions of a Market Maker. All right. So that's the important stuff I really had to talk about. It will really change the way that you see trading and the way that you see how the markets work. All right. Now, I guess I could go into a very short amount of explanation. I don't really want to explain how market makers work, but once you understand them and you take a step back and look at the global aspect, you will see the same game playing out. Okay, so once you understand what the market makers are doing and how they work, what their role is, you'll actually see the same model playing out on a global scale. So you have the Federal Reserve, you have the IMF, Bank of International Settlements. These guys are the market makers, right? These are the guys who have the money, the liquidity. They're the ones who are drawing people into to get involved in basically any kind of monetary policy. They set the standard and they fund the game, all right? The next level down, you have your media, your government, and the banks, all right? These guys are like the exchanges. They will pump stories, they'll fake you out, and they'll basically take their cut to implement, whatever the market makers want you to think, okay? So these guys are there on this level to make sure that you stay playing in the game, that you're always sort of putting money in, hoping for something better return, hoping for something better. And you also have stories being thrown at you from the media, you have the FUD and the FOMO, and that's all being created by the banks, the government, and the media. Okay, so that's that level. And then you have those guys, the market makers, and the second tier against the rest of us, the people, the countries, all right? And once you start to see the world like that, as who the market makers are, you'll start to see why everything is happening the way it is. Okay. Now, my analogy is not to say that market makers are evil and rah 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 rah, because the Federal Reserve, IMF, they are evil. All right, but market makers, they just fill in the market. They're filling orders. They're taking the other side of your trade. But they do control the price, and they manage price movements, right? That's their job. Without them, there'd be no liquidity, and we wouldn't be able to trade. So you need to understand that the general market makers in an exchange or in most of these exchanges, their job is just to keep the money flowing, right? Keeping it coming in, keeping it going out. They take the other side of your trade, but there's a certain way that they manage it so that they hardly ever lose, really. And you're the one who's basically funding their game. Right? When you go up to the big scale and the global scale, you'll see the Fed and all these other international banks. They are the money makers. They are the market makers, the creators. They provide funding and liquidity to the rest of the world. They provide funding and liquidity to governments around the world, to countries. And when they give you that money, they put terms and conditions on how that money is going to be spent. So they give it to the politicians, they administer it, they give it to the liquidity to the banks. The banks put their interest on. Everyone's allowed to take their cut as long as they all serve the money maker, right? Or the market maker, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Anyway, I've talked about that long enough. It's time to let's go have a look at the markets. All right. So you can see that I've made some changes to my chart here, all right? And I don't have the tool on at the moment. It's this one here, but I'm going to change. I'll turn that on soon. I've gone to a black screen because it's a little bit easier to see most of the print on the tools that come up. Every now and then, TradingView seems to change my. We'll get rid of these. They don't seem to show up sometimes, and I've got to keep putting the numbers in. So I've changed the numbers a little bit just to see if we can get a bit more points on selling. See when things are overbought on a bit shorter time frame. We've got the True Strength Index. We've got the stochastic RSI. And the stochastic RSI is kind of a good way to see rather than see what the market's doing and that it's like a slightly lagging indicator, you're better off looking at the stochastic RSI to show you what the market makers are doing, all right? Even though it's a slightly bit behind, but you can see which way they're more intending the markets to go, okay? Now, let's look at price. This is Bitcoin on the 4 hour. We can see that it's had a bit of a run up here. It's hit this the top of this channel. Okay, and this channel has been going back for quite a long time, as you can see, running right across the top. Other people have put this channel going down here, and they're trying to show you. Right, a lot of other YouTubers are trying to show you that this is actually broken out of the channel. It hasn't, guys. It's still in the channel. All right, and we still have the potential of coming right down. I still think that we're going to come at least down to the low 40 level. All right, are we in a potential breakout at the moment? Yeah. Do we have that opportunity? Normally, I'd have to say no. I just don't think it's going to shoot up. There's just not enough volatility, and there's volatility, but there's not enough liquidity and money flowing to push this through a number of resistances, okay? Now, part of what I've been learning with the market makers and stuff is that there are areas of liquidity that they try to push you into and then dump you out of, or push you down into and then pull out of, okay? So I'll bring those up when I put the tools up, all right? Now, Bitcoin is still, this is on a 4 hour, it's still in a channel. It's been in this channel since the 9th of November. That's when it's really started sort of coming down. If we have a look on some of we'll go to the daily. Okay, you can see this channel much better. We did have this intersection point. And when I was first starting crypto and starting back in 2015, starting to learn how to chart, all I could do was just draw lines. I could just draw a couple of trend lines. And I did notice that at these crossover points, when one trend crosses another line, you would generally see a specific kind of price action occur right around these times, you know? And you can see that, this is kind of a crux, and there was a pump up towards it, all right, based on your tools down here. All right, we could see that there was a bit of a pump coming in because it was on the daily. All right, getting towards the top of the upper range of the RSI. So this is where a lot of the buying activity does come in, right around this area. Once it gets sort of 70, 80, it really starts to come in. It can pump pretty hard along there in a bull market, right? Or a bullish trend, let's say that. So when things get very bullish, you can pretty much guarantee that these can go up and pump up and stay hard for a while. This has not done that. All right, it is starting to make a little bit of a bull flag here, and we're coming down in this range, but that does not mean that it's going to just pull back and take off, okay? Because there's just not enough money flowing in to the exchanges at the moment to give this massive push up what it needs. Because I mean, we got to break through all this. And when I put the MRIs, the moving averages up, you'll see where the moving averages are as well. We'd have to break through this level. We have to break through this level at 59, 53. All right. So there's quite a lot of levels here that we'd have to break through, and the strength to push it up just isn't quite there. You know what I mean? It just keeps sort of popping up and then going down, and popping up and going down. All right. Also, I've said it before, even before I was looking at all these other sort of guys and investing in this. When you see these big pops, we'll go to 1 hour. And it's not showing it much. When you see these big sort of spikes like this, usually when you see 2 in a row on a daily scale, you know it's going to start turning down again. It's like, especially when you see 3, 1, 2, 3, they're really sort of changing the direction of the market. All right. It might go for a while, it might not last long at all. It just depends. This is where, if you're not sure which way it's going around here, take a look at your moving averages and your stochastics and your tools, okay? If these aren't moving, if there's not a lot of flow coming in, this bounce isn't going to be very high, This is where we had that big dump, came down, sort of stopped around the 42. I still believe we've got to fill in this section. I still think we have to come down in that range and fill that range out. You know what I mean? Because many, many times when you get the bottom of a dip, it's usually an indicator as to where the market will sort of bottom out at and start to move up. You can see it here, it bottomed out here. Market came up, came back down, off it went. Here, you can see it. It dips right down, came back up, then just died off, tried to come back down again, and then it took off again, yeah? Over here, look at that, right on. It took a big dip, it pumped up, chugged along, got a bit choppy, dropped down, right down near the bottom of this wick, and then started taking off again. And here's the big one. Went right down, so it came down here, this was your bottom, it came up, got choppy, got people in, was stop hunting here. They came down, chopped around, tried to pump up, still couldn't get over this, took another dump, came down, got some more liquidity, pumped up, and it just kept dying and dying and dying. But by the time we got to here, it had fulfilled this whole range of liquidity and all these things that were just sitting there, and grabbed it all up and then took a run to the upside. And you can see it reflected here, okay? Make this a bit sharper. So we're sitting about the minus 20, usually a range where it starts to take off, minus 25. All right, this is again on the daily. And this was, we had this little, when you come down, have a bump, that's usually when she takes off as well, okay? So there's just little signs you've got to look for to find when, what the market is actually doing. It needs to find the range. There's not enough liquidity to sort of keep this pushing up. I think it's going to come down and we're going to fill this range out a bit more. All right, a lot of people are saying sort of 44, 42. I still think it's going to come down to here, and then by January it'll start making a decision on whether she's going to move up or down. All right, I don't think she's going to take a big drop and come right down here all of a sudden. That's what everyone's trying to tell you. They're telling you it's either going to come down here or shoot up to 100. Or even 70, 80. I just don't think it's going to do that. I've seen this move before in other stocks, right? And I think she's just going to play out and keep suckering people in, have a bit of a dump, have a bit of a pump, and just keep playing. Then it gets flat, and then right about here, she jumps up and then works its way down and then starts to move. So I think January, February is a time when Bitcoin will start actually making a move, making a decision on when she's going to drop off or when it's going to take off. So, you know, it can happen usually around this range here, right, at the end of a trend. Because this is a bearish trend, all right? Are we in a bear market? No, not yet. I don't think we'll be in a bear market until we really sort of break under maybe here. And if it gets down into this range, like I talked about, and if you look at one of my last videos, I talked about this being fulfilled down here. It's still a possibility, okay? Depends what's happening out in the real market, in the traditional markets, I should say, not the real market. But, you know, this is a potential where it can come down and just consolidate, and then we can move to have a nice big move up later in the year towards your 100,000, you know, maybe 90,000, something like that. So if what I've been saying is a bit confusing, I think it might just keep sort of working down, come up, work down like this, and it'll decide. And this right here will be the decider. I'll just change that color. This area here will be a decider on whether it drops down and works in this range or starts to work its way up and pump up back towards this upper range here. So I don't think we'll really have a clear answer on which way it's moving. I could be completely wrong. We might get some big event that'll just pump Bitcoin back up into this range and keep flowing, and off she goes. But I just don't think that's likely at the moment. You know, just the way Bitcoin's moving, hard to say. Look, the daily's starting to turn up, but again, these, since I've changed my chart, these have actually changed a little bit as well. Because on the weekly, it was still pointing down. Now it's showing that she's sort of turning up a bit. Oh, get off this. All right. But we do have this big classic M pattern here, and a lot of people are expecting this to just sort of dump right down, you know, at least to here. You know, if I clean this up a little bit, you know, a lot of people are thinking that, you know, the 20,000, here's 20,000. This could be a range. Guys, let's just work at one piece at a time, okay? Just work at one piece at a time. You know, it's very rare that you have these massive drops, like 8,000 down to 4,000, you know. There's 50% candles, 30% candles here. It's 45 to 30, that's a $15,000 candle, that was huge. You know, they're some of the biggest candles we've ever had. You know, so you're not going to get one big move that's just going to dump you all the way down here. It'll take time, you know. So there's your stop there, 19. There's plenty of support in this range here. Personally, I think we're just going to stay in this range. If we do drop down, maybe 25 around this range here to here. I don't think we're going to, like people have said 12,000, you know, 8,000. I just cannot understand why people would think it's going to go that low. But look, there is a big area of support here, but no one's got orders there. Like there's no liquidity in this range. So it's up in here. This is where all the money is, all the orders, all the, you know what I mean? This is where it's sitting around waiting to be swallowed up. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of support in this range. I think this is where we're likely to end up. All right, and we are at a bit of that crux moment to see what's going to happen. All right, let's go back to, if we have a look at the 1 hour, if you want to see what's happening on the 1 hour scale, we've come up, we've had that bit of a pump, okay, the market makers have got everyone in, and they've pumped it up to here, we've had our spikes, yeah, spike, 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 it's stopped right on this line. Okay, the line is not down here, guys. This is not a breakout. Okay, we're still in the channel, and I think it's still going to keep coming down. All right, this is an hourly, so we'll probably just sort of maybe come down to this region here. Let's see if it breaks the 47.8. All right, might be a bit of area of support here, and then maybe sort of bounce up to there. So that's what we're looking at. Anyway, I want to go back to the 4 hour for a minute, and we'll turn these, I'll get rid of this. Okay, now I'm going to show you these, this indicator. Whoops. Let's turn them Alright, so it's a really busy indicator, but it's a pretty good one. This is the 4 hour. I should go to the 1 hour. I'll go to the 1 hour. There we are. So you have a 200 EMA. You have a 50 EMA in this purple sort of track. You have the 5 and the 13 EMAs. Alright. And you have specific candles indicating. Now this doesn't mean it's a buy candle. It just, you need to watch those videos. I'm not going to explain it because I'm only still learning a lot of this. Okay, it's kind of a new system that this fellow's developed. You got your psychological high, your psychological low. We broke out through that yesterday. Okay, and it just starts moving along. You know, the market maker pushes the price up here, gets everyone involved, pushes it up here, gets people involved, starts setting up shorts. Right, well, they've actually taken the shorts down here, but. It reaches these points and it stops, you know, it keeps stopping. Right? So then she's pulling back, comes back to the 50 MA, as it usually does, and starts working its way down. Now the question is, this is on the 1 hour, guys, 1 hour, will we get support at the 200? All right? Will the 200 maintain support? Well, it came down, bounced off it, it's now bouncing between these moving averages. And at the moment, guys, by the way, I'm not in any position. I think the market's just, not the best place to be in at the moment. It's probably okay for scalping, but not much else, you know. And I don't do a lot of scalping much at all. So, so here we are. So we're looking to see if Bitcoin will hold this sort of $48,000 level. It's coming closer to it. All right. You can see where, I'll go over to here, see where the liquidity is. You know, there's a fair bit of liquidity around this point, around the 60,000. All right, and a fair bit sort of in this area as well. This is just for this exchange, and the 65. So the liquidity is lower, okay? Not as much up high. Yeah, they'd have to run up to 75 to get that, and that's just not going to happen. So there's a lot more liquidity for traders and the market makers down here to sort of push the price down into here, okay? You can have a look in the books as well. Yeah, there's more sell orders. There's almost pairing. It's almost pairing, but not doing a lot. Yeah, this is an Australian market. It's in Australian dollars. Okay, it's one of the ones where I just do spot trading. All right, but I don't do a lot of it at the moment because everything's just the way it is. But guys, this is what it looks like. You have your volume. Okay, these are mine. These don't come with. These are just my two indicators that I like to use because I like to measure these moves against the price move. All right. So there's a lot of chatting there. What I might do is just turn this off, and we'll have a quick look at some of the other coins. We'll go to Ethereum. I would like to get those moving averages back. But we can do it without it, doesn't really matter. So again, it's the same thing. Just think, at the moment, it's quiet, not a lot of liquidity, not a lot of movements. The algorithms are taking over. If you're trading at this time, it can be pretty dangerous, okay? Pretty risky. It can be very risky. If you're entering into trades, you'll get your big moves up when they're just consolidates and dumps, but they don't go very far. They're not going very far. Right? And Ethereum is constantly playing around this support line here. Okay, will it dump under? Well, it's just starting to dump under now. Judging by this, I think we're going to move back down and test this kind of area around here for Ethereum. So back to 3,800, 3,850 for Ethereum for now. If we have a look on the larger scales, go to 4 hour. Yep, same thing. Okay, still playing around this support line. It's holding support pretty well. Ethereum, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed with all the shit coins. They've actually been holding up pretty well through this whole, bear trend. Okay, they've been holding themselves up pretty well, and I think they're proving a lot of these Bitcoin maximalists wrong. And so that's amusing. So Bitcoin's just had another little dump under 67 Australian, or it would be 40, yeah, still around the 48 there. So getting a little tighter. You can do your trends. Yeah. There's not a lot here to rely on. You know what I mean? That's not a lot to rely on, and I think it'll go down. Alright, I think this is on a daily, so I think it's more likely to sort of come down and sort of break down under. Okay, it just depends what Bitcoin does, but might sort of start to see a breakdown and see it drop down a bit. But once she does break through these, Ethereum might get in a bit of trouble, and you might see a big dump down to maybe the 28. That's a big drop. It's a big drop for Ethereum, but probably look at focus on the $3,400 range first. Okay, this is on the daily. Okay, might not do it. Might turn around and get a pump. We'll have to wait and see. That's what I say, guys. Never just jump in based on a price. We're just speculating. Speculation is 90% guess and 10% luck. Mainly just bullshit, really, isn't it? So that's that point. We can have a look at Cardano. Cardano's actually starting to have a bit of a move up. I still don't trust it much. I still think Cardano is at risk of falling down under this level. Right? So if it breaks this, Cardano's in trouble. Right? If Cardano comes down, and if we happen to have some kind of economic shake over the next few weeks, Cardano could be in a lot of trouble, guys. A lot of trouble, right? So I'll be very careful holding Cardano if you're holding it at the moment, depending where you got in. If you got in here, well, you can probably around this region here, you can probably, if you didn't take profit, you might want to consider keeping an eye on this. And if it looks like it's going to go down, which on the daily, not looking too good, just be careful, all right? You might want to consider taking at least half of your holdings out, but it's your choice. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you where the markets are at, all right? Let's have a look at Avalanche. Everyone seems to like Avalanche at the moment. So a lot of these are kind of oversold on the overbought on the daily, but just remember, once it's in these regions, it can pump for a while. There can be a lot of a lot of buying action when it's even though you say, oh well, it's overbought, it should be pulling back. Not really. Look, all along here the last few months, there's been buying all in this range while it's been staying up here, okay, and staying above this 50. All right, so once it gets in the upper ends and it's got support from either a lower or a higher time frame, especially a high time frame, it can keep moving. Let's have a look at the weekly on this. Yeah, see, we have support on a higher time frame on the weekly. Okay, looks pretty bullish. This could, I reckon for Avalanche, you could probably look at 225 if we have a big breakout and it just doesn't want to follow Bitcoin anymore, right? If it just wants to do its own thing, within a few weeks, could shoot up to here, but it's unlikely. But you can definitely set a price to say, well, let's try and see if we break the 151, all right? Break the 151, we might just keep going to 160, 170, all right? But again, very volatile at the moment. It's a very dangerous time to be trading, very high risk time to be trading. You got to be trading against the bots and all sorts of things and other people who just really don't know how to trade, so they're going to be throwing money to everything or pulling money off everything, and it's just really shaky, guys. Have a look at Sheeb. So Sheeb's had a big pump up for the day. Still probably more upside. Maybe it might sort of get up to about here. That might be a nice little move there. Probably going to be about 2 or 3%. Let's have a look. Get up to say probably around this range here. You can just put it up to this. Wow, it's 18% just in that. Look at that. Can it do that? No, I don't know if it'll make that kind of big move. Again, there's just no liquidity here at the moment, guys. There's nothing really. A lot of the big buyers, a lot of the big people that are pumping money into Bitcoin, they're all on holidays. They're all taking a break. They're all in the Bahamas. They're all on the British Virgin Islands and having a good time and living in a tax-free environment while you're taking all this shit, right? All right, so you just got to consider this. Anyway, that might do it. Let's have a quick look at DOT. Okay, so Polkadot is kind of following Bitcoin quite a lot. Alright, so when you see Bitcoin move up, Polkadot might want to take your interest there as a secondary asset to look at. Starting to sort of have a bit of a sell-off. Alright, the money interest is sort of pulling back, and that's how I would see this. See it as an interest in money flow, right? So is there a lot of interest in the buying at the moment? Well, she's definitely had a good sort of peak here. There's been some buying. This is 4-hour chart, by the way. Let's go to the daily. All right. You kind of do have this head and shoulders here, which has caused all this to sort of dump down, but you know, it's come in early. Might still have a bit more of a pullback. Yeah, the TSI is starting to turn around and get more bullish. It's had a real good sell-off on the daily, but let's have a look at the weekly if you have any data. Yeah, weekly's looking pretty good, so we might be moving back more into a bit of a I don't like saying this, but you know, maybe we're moving back into a bit more of a bullish zone over the next week. All right. And so let's just see how she goes. Be careful over the weekend. Be careful around Christmas. I think you'll just see things really slow up. But on that note, let's have a quick look back at Bitcoin and let's see what happened at Christmas time last year. Everything was a lot more bullish last year. Now we got the opposite. All right. So here's December 17. Where's December 20? Now here's December. And we'll go to the daily now. Let's have a bit more of a look on the daily. December. So I'm on December 23rd at the moment because Australia's ahead of the US. So December last year, right around Christmas, here we are, exactly a year ago. That's where we were. Interesting. This is why everyone's getting a hard on thinking the price is going to go up, guys. Interesting, right? This is where we were. All right. Let's have a look where we are now. Interesting. Kind of a similar type of range here. We've been coming down, but you know, I mean, the market's going the opposite way than what it was before. So if the market was going up and we were in consolidation around Christmas, the market's coming down. We're also going into consolidation around Christmas. What do you think's likely going to happen? It will follow the trend, right? It will most likely follow the trend and go down, right? Last year, it was in a bullish trend, went up, consolidated around Christmas, then on Christmas Day, look at that, Christmas Day it took off, right? Took off, did a bit of a stop hunt there, peaked up, tried to get people to keep buying in. You know, this is just after Boxing Day, and yeah, the trend kept going, you know. But this time, it was in a really, really, really strong bull market, by the way. That was really a powerful point in the bull market, right? We're not still in that same kind of uptrend, guys. We're in a downtrend. We're quite bearish, okay? So my guess is we've come up, had a bit of a try and attack, all right? It's going to sort of pull back. It looks like it's doing a flag, and people will be going, oh, it's doing a flag. Look at last year, it went up. No, I think it's going to come down, all right? I think it's going to come down. It might just keep sort of pushing along here. Maybe we'll get this kind of little pump, and then it'll just drop off. That's what I think is going to happen. That's where I think we're going, okay? So that's what I think is going to happen in the market, Bitcoin in the next few days, next few weeks as well. Look, stay tuned, keep watching Bitcoin Bankers. Please like, please subscribe. There's really a whole lot of important information I've done here for you today, guys. A lot to consider. Go watch those videos. You've got plenty of time to kick back. You know, if you've done all your Christmas shopping or if, you know, all that kind of shit, kick back, have a beer, have a glass of wine, get something to eat, go sit out in the shade, in the sun, And well, we're in summer down in Australia here, so if you're in winter, go sit by the fire, glass of scotch or something, and watch these videos and have a good laugh. It's pretty amazing stuff. It'll blow you away. Bitcoin Bankers out. Have a good Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.